Okay, so we are on day 69, which means we have 21 days left. And I don't know why it just took me so long to do that, but um, I just wanted to check in with you all about how much I have changed in the last 60 plus days. Um, because I'm definitely a completely different person than the woman who was sitting before you all. Um, it, Starting YouTube 2 months ago, and some of that is good, some of that is bad, and I just wanted to come on here authentically and share it with you all. So, I want to start off by saying that, like, the biggest thing that I have noticed within myself is the personal growth. Like, I feel like I love myself so much more than I did, like, ever before. Like, I I don't know how to explain it. Like, the confidence, the self-love, the self-respect that I was looking for, um I finally have it. And do I have my lapses in judgment? Of course. Like, there has been at least two scenarios, but I think that even then I take accountability and I bring myself back to a baseline of, like, standing up for myself and establishing a boundary so that that does not happen again. Whereas before, I was definitely someone who let people walk all over me. I wanted to be loved and accepted, so I had people pleasing really bad. I um, did a lot of things that I didn't want to do, um, just because, just for the sake of, like, having someone. And I'm speaking specifically romantically. It was never like peer pressure, um, like smoking or anything like that, but it was definitely like romantically. I think I would, like, stay in relationships that weren't fulfilling to me just to say that I, like, would have someone. And that was something I had to come to terms with, because I never considered myself as being someone who was male centered, simply because when you look at me and the things that make me happy and bring me joy, and most of my life is considered around, like, personal development and self growth and self awareness and all the things, but romantically, I was definitely still male centered, in that um, I did whatever he wanted, and it was all about him in the relationship, and my needs were always put on the back burner. Um, Not always as in, like, they took advantage of that, but, like, I took advantage of me, essentially, and I don't do that anymore. I have learned to speak my mind, say what I mean. Um, Not to say that I'm selfish in relationships, but I am definitely more self-serving. So I am not afraid to bring up when something is making me uncomfortable, or um, just establishing boundaries. Like, I'm not afraid to lose someone. I'm so much more afraid to lose myself than to lose anyone else. And I think 60 days ago I was saying that just because it sounded good and because I wanted that to be the truth, when in actuality it wasn't. And um, a perfect example of this is with it being National Girlfriend's Day recently, and I was talking to someone, and we had been dating, and there was agreed upon plans that were supposed to happen, and he just chose not to show up. Um, and there was no apology, there was no reconciliation after the fact. And typically, the version of me before would have let that slide and um, kind of allowed a person to show me and consistently show me that, like, I don't matter to them and that they don't value enough to show up for me. But not anymore. I think since then I've acted accordingly, and I have stopped giving that person my energy and pouring into that person, um, because it's no longer serving me. Like, I am not just going to give unlimited chances, um, because I don't have to. Like, I think that that's a big thing that comes along with it for me, is that, like, before I felt like I had to be so understanding, um, and just forgiving because I couldn't do better. And I think that now I get I give understanding and I give grace from a place of, like, wanting to rather than having to. So when someone messes up, I expect them to take accountability, and then it's up to me to decide if I want them to stay around. But they don't automatically continue to get access to my life just because um, they feel like they should. So that has been the biggest thing that I've wanted to work on, is, like, loving myself more and having more confidence. And I think that I have definitely done that. And the crazy thing is, it didn't look like any major changes over time. It looked like just, like, consistently checking in with myself, journaling, um, and really just, I don't know, reflection, self-reflection, whatever that looks like to you. For me, it's usually journaling, asking myself prompts, but also when a situation happens, real time, asking myself, like, how do I feel about that? Or, like, does this bother me? Or, like, am I okay with that? Instead of just letting it happen. Um, I'm so much more proactive rather than reactive. I don't just allow things to happen to me. Um, I take control of the situation, which is huge. Um, I think that I am definitely not in a victim mentality anymore. I am taking my power back and developing a victor mentality. Um, so those are the two biggest changes, which were really important to me because those were things that were on my vision board, um, and goals that I had at the beginning of the year. I Let's see here. Other things that I think have really helped is, like, or lessons that I've learned, things that I've noticed that have changed, is, like, I had on here, I wanted to heal my mind, my body, and my soul. My mindset, again, has definitely healed. I think that I have a better relationship with myself, as I mentioned, but also a better relationship with my body. Like, the way that I treat myself, I am a lot more intentional about what goes into my body, how I'm treating my body, how I'm showing up for my body, how I'm moving my body. And then the soul piece is really huge too. I'm respecting my space and what feels comfortable and aligned to me, and when things feel out of alignment, I'm listening to that inner knowing and I'm not just ignoring it. So those are definitely ways that I think I've been working on that. It still is my goal to get into therapy, and I think that that will help um, create more sustained change. But I definitely am proud of the work that I've been doing outside of therapy and just on my own. Um, Other things, yeah, so, like, I'm looking at my 2026 goals here, and, like, it said practice more self-love. Again, I think I've definitely done that. And then another one was become more confident and self-assured with who I am. Definitely have done that. um Other things that I worked on, I'm working on creating the life of my dreams. I feel like I'm definitely working on becoming more calm again, coming from a place of being more re- um, proactive instead of reactive. And so when situations that typically irritated me, I'm being more mindful about taking a deep breath and not reacting, but instead responding, like taking a moment to really respect myself and the other person instead of just lashing out. And so that has been huge. Um, Becoming more fulfilled, self-authentic, definitely working on that. Oh, do more of what makes me happy and live life on my own terms. Definitely, I think I have been doing more of that, and I've been allowing that to change on a day by day basis. Like, at one point in June, content will, creating content was what was making me happy. July, not so much. Um, that's why I only posted like 12 videos versus like the 20 or whatever it was I posted before. In August, again, not so much. And I'm just respecting myself for that. I'm not shaming myself for that. I've been spending a lot of time alone, indoors, um, and I love that for me because the relationship with myself is one of the most important things that I have developed, and am continuing to work on. And so I'm actually working on getting a relationship coaching certifications specifically so that I can help women strengthen the relationships with themselves first so that they attract more aligned relationships, because I think that you teach people how to treat you, and when you don't love yourself, you can't expect other people to love you. And when you're not constantly showing up for yourself and pouring into yourself, you're not going to be able to attract that. So that's why I'm doing the work first, and then obviously I'm going to coach women around that. I was looking at my goals, and another thing stood out to me, which is spending more time creating intentional relationships with friends and family. I definitely have done that this summer. I think in June and July, I was in California and spending time around my nephews and my grandma, and um, my relationship with my sister has gotten. We've always been close, but I think it's gotten better and it's like matured. Um, the like sometime last week we had a conversation about like her mental health and the things that she had been struggling with when we were like in high school, and how she felt about that. And it was a really healing conversation, and I loved that we've just gotten to a place where we could share that with one another, um, and just be a soundboard to each other. um, Other things, I again live in the moment more, create more intentional memories with my son. I have been working on doing that, and it doesn't always look like doing things outside of the house. So having movie night, we did that on Friday night. Today is Sunday, so we just did that the other night. And we made cookies together, and having him help me cook, and um, just giving him more responsibility and allowing him to have more um, mommy and me time. And so like having him help me with the groceries and just little things like that, because I realized my iPad shows obviously memories of him, and my son is 3. He'll be 4 in February, and so I just realized how fast he's growing. And while I'm a stay-at-home mom, I don't think that I am still realizing like the speed at which he is growing up, and before you know it, he's going to be school age and he's going to be in school and he's going to be doing sports and all the things, and he's not going to be little forever, and he's not going to want to be around me forever. Um, and so I'm just taking advantage of being his mom and what that looks like. Um, and then I've been working on my coaching business, especially within this last month or this last week or so. I've been able to do some coaching, and I'm actually going to be signing on a coaching client in the next few weeks, which is really great. And I'm just figuring out what I want my life and my next chapter to look like, as my birthday is coming up and I feel like I am becoming a different woman. And honestly, I feel like I have completely gotten away from what the initial challenge was supposed to look like, but I have, in doing so, allowed myself to expand and to grow. And I'm nurturing relationships, not just romantically, but relationships with others, which is something I have never done before. Um, Typically, to me, self development has like self first, but now I'm creating relationships with my classmates and peers and family, and obviously romantic partner type things, and a relationship with my son and all the things, because I realize that I feel like, this is for me personally, all the growth in the world would be nothing if I have no one to share it with. Like, all the success in the world would be nothing if I don't have anyone by my side. And I realized that that was something I was ignoring before, and I was pretending to be the strong, independent person who didn't need anyone, and that was not realistic to what I actually wanted. It was just more of like what life was forcing me to portray, and I'm tired of that, and I'm not succumbing to that anymore. I'm allowing myself to be soft again, and also still have individuality while being in a relationship. So we're working on being interdependent instead of codependent has been a huge thing for me. Um, and yeah, I'm really proud of myself. Like, I had a reflection about that going into August, of like how proud I am of me and the growth. And it hasn't looked so much like things that you all might be able to see online, or things that other people might be able to notice. But internally, I'm noticing the difference, and I know who I used to be, how I used to think, how I used to act, and I feel like I'm just so much calmer, so much more peaceful, and I still have so much of a ways to go. Like, I was doing a life audit, and my life right now is like a 6.38. Like, it's pretty mediocre. But even then, I think that it's still better and more peaceful than my life might have been at an 8 out of 10 last year. So I'm just allowing life to happen to me, not in a go with the flow type of way, but also in that exact type of way. Like, I'm not stuck to any specific outcomes. I think I will let go of having my life have to look a certain way to other people to be worthy, and instead I'm going with how I feel. And how I feel about my life is that I'm so proud of me. I'm so happy with the life that I'm creating for myself. Um, I love the relationship that I'm in. I love who I am showing up as a mother as. I love how I'm showing up as a sister. I love how I'm showing up as a daughter. Um, I love how I'm showing up and building friendships. I love how I'm showing up for myself. And so all of those things just bring me so much joy and excitement. And that's another thing is like I feel like people don't talk about that enough, that success does not have to look like a certain thing to matter. Um, and I don't know what YouTube has for me in the future or what that looks like. I am choosing to come from a place of not planning my content moving forward and not forcing myself to output and not forcing myself to be a production machine, but just really to enjoy life and make meaningful content to me. And it has worked so far. My subscriber count is slowly growing, which I'm so grateful for, um, because my people will find me, and I just believe that God has my back with all of this. And so, if you made it to the end, and if you've subscribed, I just want to thank you for sticking with me. I know I'm a bit inconsistent, and I usually hate when creators that I subscribe to are inconsistent, but I also now understand that real life happens and that people are just doing the best that they can, and that's all we can do. So again, I just wanted to really check in with you all about where I'm at in life, which is to me in a really good space, better than I was um, 2 months ago, and I'm just grateful for how far I've come. And we still have 4 months left of the year, and I just know that my potential for growth and the amount of things that I'm going to go through and grow through is going to be like beyond measure. It's going to be so amazing, and I'm just so happy that I have and am continuing to create a environment where I can safely share that journey. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.